Welcome to DAX Machina, with your hosts, Naoma Finn, Steve Wildman Munrodis, and D.A. Roberts. Join us as we explore writing, books, authors, and all things horror. We will delve into the sightings, reports, encounters, and tales of monsters. We will also explore the writings of D.A. Roberts along with others in the horror genre. We will investigate the possibilities that monsters may not be safely locked away in the pages of books. They might just walk among us even now. Grab some popcorn and lock the doors. It's going to be a creepy journey. Welcome to DAX Machina.
Good evening, folks, and thank you for joining us tonight on DAX Machina. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's topic. We're going to be setting the dial way back on the way back when machine, and going to be discussing one of the weirder incidents that occurred with the Roman Empire. It's a subject that I found very interesting for a long time, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it as we dig into that. Anthony, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Well, live and kicking so far, but it's early.
Yeah, right. I guess it's only me and you tonight, huh?
Looks like.
All right.
But that's all right. I think we can keep the conversation going between the two of us.
Yeah, definitely.
As my wife says, will often say, getting me to talk's the easy problem. Getting me to shut up's the trick.
I hear you.
So how have you been, man? You doing okay?
Yeah, everything's good. So far so good. Like I said, I've been spending some time at hospice with my mom. So
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, it is what it is. She's had dementia so it's taken its toll on her.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. We'll be praying for you and your family.
Thanks. Thank you.
My pleasure, man. How much do you know about the Legio IX Hispana, or also known as the Lost Legion?
I've read about it a while ago. I know they were, detached to Britain.
Mm-hmm.
And they were actually there to build the Great Wall and Barrier. I know that. That's all the information that they had on them before they disappeared, But people say that they, went in, they went somewhere else and got slaughtered, but they have no proof of it. I mean,
there's a lot of really weird circumstances surrounding the disappearance of this legion. Around 109 AD, the Legio IX Hispana, which was named because it was originally founded in the Hispania or Spain.
Mm-hmm.
It was when the legion was first put to muster. They were assigned to help construct and defend Hadrian's Wall. Hadrian's Wall was built across the northern part of England to help keep the Pictish tribesmen out of the north of England, or as the British called it, Britannia.
That's it.
And that legion was a full strength legion. And all we know for absolute certain is that at some point after 109, the legion was stricken from the rolls of the Roman legion.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing we can say with absolute fact. The legion just was absolutely removed from the rolls of the Roman legion.
Yeah, because when they went in to look at the documents, they had registered all the legions that were with Rome, and they weren't in it.
It's extremely uncommon for the Roman Empire to do that, to strike an entire legion, and usually only one of two reasons would be the legion would do that. It was either the legion rebelled or the legion was defeated. The Roman Empire did not like to have propaganda out there about the legion being defeatable. because in their day they were the strongest military force on the planet.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, they were professional soldiers. That's all they were. And a lot of scholars and a lot of book writers will say that they just disbanded and melted in to the, to normal life out there. And that was during what? That was the fall of Rome, wasn't it?
Right.
That's so it's like no one really went looking for them. If that did happen.
There are a couple of references that were located, I believe, in the Netherlands. To basically just like graffiti on dictating to the ninth, but it doesn't really prove the ninth was there.
No.
The last known assignment of the Ninth Legion was on Hadrian's wall, and what they believe is that at some point the commander of the legion decided that he was going to go north of Hadrian's wall and push the Picts back.
Right.
And that's when the legion vanished to a man. And for an entire Roman legion to simply disappear, it's unheard of. I mean, they were the unbeatable military force of their day.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that's, to me, that's the really, really kind of intriguing part about that, because they really hadn't been defeated. I mean, even against the Germanic tribes, they eventually beat them too. The Legion
I know that.
Legion was practically unstoppable in its day, and for them to march north of Hadrian's wall and be wiped out by the Picts, that's saying something. Because I don't know if folks too much about what the Picts are, but the Picts were essentially a offshoot clan of the Celts. They were more isolated, more primitive, and they would later be absorbed basically into the Highlanders.
They were barbaric.
They blended into the rest of Scotland, but they were originally from the north and east of Scotland, and for them to be that powerful to take on and defeat a Roman legion with essentially Stone Age technology is it's kind of, it would take a lot of them to do it. And there have been several movies about this subject written, several books written, several movies made, but none of them have been that historically accurate. But then again, you also really can't without a lot of historical information on the Legion itself, you can't be that historically accurate. But every one of them has taken a lot of liberties with it. One of the most recent was I believe it was called Eagle of the Legion. It had Channing Tatum in it.
Yeah, he played. That's right, he did play in it.
Yeah. Well, as the combat scenes were pretty good, you really can't call that very historically accurate.
No,
it was just a wild speculative guess about what happened to that legion.
Even the one I was telling you about, that wasn't accurate either. It was just how they played it into the movie,
right? It was just
at the
a
very end
story,
right? So how Lancelot and Excalibur and all this stuff came about was, they said, from the Ninth Legion and them going there, and
which does make an interesting tie-in. But
think about it. I mean, there was no knights back then. No King of England. I mean,
the closest was the military governor that the Romans had put in place.
And when I started watching the movie, I'm like, well, I said that has, you could actually think about it and be like, man, that makes a little sense. But I mean, really, Caesar's, at the end they show you Caesar's sword that was supposed to be Excalibur.
Yeah. So. Eli Harrison asked, he says, how many soldiers were in a Roman legion? I think somebody already answered that in the chat. Sal Paso is typically between 2,000 and 5,000, depending on whether they had cavalry attached and how many camp followers, supply trains and stuff they had following. But the core of the legion itself was usually 2,000 to 5,000, depending on whether they were considered a full strength legion.
And there were 10 legions. I know that.
Yeah,
he commanded 10 legions, Caesar. So that was a lot.
Essentially, with those 10 legions, he beat the known world.
Mm-hmm. All over the world, Africa, everywhere. I think the only time he had a hard time was with the Persians. Really, in the very early years.
They had a big fight on their hands when dealing with the Germanic tribes.
Were they?
They were one of the last to fall.
Yeah.
They one of the last groups to fall under Julius Caesar. But the Germanic tribes fought hard to the very end. But one of the things that always intrigued me is the discipline of those legions. It's not like those guys could be drawn out into a series of skirmishes and wiped out. The discipline of the legion was supreme. If they were being attacked by primitive weapons like stone-tipped arrows, the formation of the testudo would have prevented that from being effective. And this was not a brand new, untested, unbattle-tested legion. This was a blooded legion.
The ninth was his elite, wasn't it?
It was one of the elites. That's why it was assigned to Britannia, because it was one of the farthest outposts of the empire.
Mm-hmm. They knew what they were doing. I mean, as far as fighting, they've been all over fighting for him. But then, I was reading something about they disbanded them and then brought them back and made it another Ninth Legion. It was just all the stuff I was reading. I was like, I don't know. I guess nobody really knows what really happened.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a mystery. You don't, a whole legion doesn't just disappear.
Right.
So.
And for it to just also vanish from the legion rolls. I mean, because the Romans kept very detailed records.
Oh yeah.
And I know when we start looking at different theories about what happened. Again, some people think the legion was disbanded. Some think they were just basically stripped apart and sent to bolster other legions. I keep coming back to them going north of Hadrian's Wall.
They said that too. Yeah.
The big protocol of the day was to stop the attacks that were happening in Britannia, because that's why they built Hadrian's Wall.
Right.
I mean, you've got to consider somebody a huge threat to build a wall that runs, essentially across northern England.
Yeah. They split the country in two.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
And it wasn't even at the border of England and what they called Caledonia at the time, which is now Scotland.
Right.
It was within Britannia territory. It was built back from the border so they would have a buffer zone. Hadrian's Wall was never the border. It was just meant to keep the raiding parties from coming that far south.
Yeah.
And generally anything north of Hadrian's Wall was considered no man's land.
Yeah, they think when they went, north, they think that they were slaughtered. I mean, the last recording was right there at the wall. They had artifacts they found, that tablet that was written on. They had a brass eagle or a iron eagle they found.
Well, the British archaeologists are finding Roman artifacts and stuff dating to the 9th all along that wall. So we know for a fact the 9th was there.
Right.
And the only thing that shows they might have been anywhere else was that bit of graffiti in the Netherlands. They haven't found shields. They haven't found standards. They didn't find the eagle. And that was the pride of every legion. Every legion had a golden eagle it was made out of pure gold. It was the standard they carried into battle, and that's never been found.
No, that's true. Well, that's very true.
Yeah, I firmly believe they marched north of Hadrian's Wall and were wiped out. But here's the thing. If you look at Celtic mythology and Scottish history, there's all kinds of weird crap in the Scottish mountains. I mean, there's the Scottish Grey Man, which is their version of Bigfoot.
I know.
There's also Celtic lore on fairies and trolls and goblins and all kinds of things. If the Pictish magic was a thing, what all could they have brought to battle, and how powerful would it have to been to defeat a blooded legion? I mean, these are guys that would not have walked into perdition's flames easily.
No.
It would have taken a combined military force of, thousands and thousands of these tribesmen to break that shield wall.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they weren't, even if they were barbaric, I mean, you think about it, you got 5,000 legionnaires.
Yeah.
I mean, really, against rocks and stone arrows. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Fred in Alaska had a good point. He says,
What?
"Can you imagine the brass ones it took to charge the Roman line?" Yeah,
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
Roman Legion had a motto, SPQR, and a lot of them had it tattooed on them somewhere. And SPQR was the Latin motto of the Legion. It stood for Senatus Populusque Romanus, which means for the Senate and the people of Rome. And
Mm-hmm.
I almost got that as a tattoo some years back. Actually, several of us did, because when I was on the riot team, we would go in locked shields together. So
Right.
I've stood the shield wall. So I was, if the wife hadn't thrown a hissy fit, I was going to get SPQR across my arm.
Well, what movie was that? The Gladiator?
Yeah, Gladiator. They had that. Yeah, that was a big detail in the movie Gladiator.
When the barbarics, I guess they were barbarics, but barbarians rushed the Roman legion from the forest line.
Mm-hmm.
You had a whole, I don't know if that was the 9th or what it was.
No, I think that was the Legio Ferrata. They also known as the Iron Legion.
Okay. Because he was a general for them. I remember that one scene
in the movie. It was he was the general of the Felix Legion. But if I remember my history correct, I believe it was Legio Ferrata, the Iron Legion, that went into Germania.
Yeah, because that was pretty intense. I mean, the way they did that, they rushed them.
Owisakon says, question, do you know what the graffiti said? I don't recall any of the articles specifically saying what it said. It was just that they found like chiseled into the stone of an old building a reference to the Ninth Legion. It could have been somebody leaving a memorial for somebody that fell in the Ninth Legion. As far as I know, it's never been translated what it said. It just had the standard of the Ninth Legion. It says SPQR was branded on the upper right bicep the day you joined.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a bunch of us that were on the riot team together almost went out and got that SPQR tattoo. Senatus Populusque Roma. The Ninth Legion, the Legion Hispana, it existed in the 1st century BC, and the last reference is around 120 AD. We know it fought all in various places around the Roman Empire, including taking part in the Roman invasion of Britannia in 43 AD. But after 120 AD, it just disappears. And that's the really confusing part that leads so much speculation as to what happened to it, because the Romans were such meticulous record keepers. There was a book written in the 1950s, I want to say 53, 54, maybe 55. It was called The Eagle of the Ninth, in which that was one of the times when they discussed the possibility they marched into Caledonia, which is modern-day Scotland. And that's the one that I kind of lean toward, because it's the one that makes the most sense. If the Legion was put on duty guarding Hadrian's wall, what could they have possibly done to have been disbanded? Because if they were disbanded, that left no legion assigned to the wall.
Right.
It makes more sense to me that the commander of that legion got tired of the wall getting hit by the Picts and said, you know what, we're going north and we're stopping this now. Because they were a blooded legion and they'd never met their match. They'd never met their match in battle. And if they thought those tribesmen were gonna keep raiding the south of England, they wanted to put a stop to it. So to me, it makes the most sense that legion commander probably left a garrison of troops to watch the wall, and then they headed north.
Right. Yeah, because they were. When I also I read about it, they were also in Sicily.
Mm-hmm.
They were with Caesar in Sicily once. The governors, I guess, try to rebel against him that time.
Mark Napier says, have you heard of the Thundering Legion?
I've never heard of it.
I would have to look that one up. That's one I haven't heard of. I would have to look that one up. Lenny Perkins says, I love the shield wall with Gideon and Clark. What an awesome battle. Well, thank you so much. That was straight up so inspired by the way the Legion fought. They locked shields together, and you would keep your sword up top, or you jab out to the side or jab between the shields. and it was extremely effective.
Oh yeah,
The Legion, when they locked shields together, they were a formidable force. It was like a modern day tank. In fact, it was said that cohorts of the I believe it was a Legio Ferrata, when they would go into battle, they would form a testudo and basically form a big blocking of the shields and lock them all in place. And they would put a light chariot up on top with a horse and have one of their centurions running around on top of that shield formation on the horse, yelling out battle cries, and they would pick it up and walk toward the enemy. You talk about freaking demoralizing.
That's messed up. Yeah, because you got a horse and chariot.
How do you fight that?
Right. Well, once you lock everything in, it's solid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the weight distributes pretty easily.
Two Thinking says maybe they had a Margolin of their own that was marking his territory.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Werewolf 5674 says, question, I thought that when spread out on the wall, they broke into outposts that led into some isolation and moral problems. Yes and no, because there were cohort and support troops that were assigned to the wall that the Legion was in charge of, but the Legion had to remain mobile. They were not just fixed fortifications. The Legion would march into battle, and the Legion, at its best, fought with sword and shield and pylon.
Right.
So they had troops that were stationed there, but a Legion was in command. So while they had people that were guarding the walls, not all of them were the Legion. The Legion was there to basically defend the wall. And that is, to me, it says why they went north, because what's the old expression? There's your best defense is a good offense.
Oh yeah, that's the truth. That is the truth. I'm looking at the comments.
Yeah, I was looking at them too.
What else?
Yeah, the thing to me that makes the most sense is they went north of the wall. I think they underestimated the Picts.
Oh yeah, somebody slaughtered them. Something like that happened.
Underestimated the Picts and marched into oblivion. There are several good movies on the subject, and some of them make pretty good sense, make a pretty good argument. But again, nobody knows. We may never really know what happened to the Ninth. But for everything I've read about it, I firmly believe they marched into Caledonia and were never heard from them again.
That's what they say. That's what they've been saying. And they had, like you said, there was some proof there, but not like a lot.
Right.
But like we both said, for somebody to wipe out a whole legion like that, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of. I mean, that's a lot of battle right there.
Yeah, that
was the best of the bad. Yeah.
Richie says, "DA and guest. I hope y'all are doing great. Thank you, Richie. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing good too, man.
Thank you, man.
But looking at the technology of the two, the Romans were the height of military technology of their day, and they probably thought that there was no way the Picts, who were basically living in Stone Age technology, could even fight back. Probably got tired of being raided, and just decided, you know what, this ends. That we're going in and we're going to put paid to this. And I think that arrogance got the Ninth Legion killed.
Yeah. I mean, you could conquer the world so much, and somebody else out there bigger and better than you are one day. That's about it.
Well, it doesn't even have to fall down to that. I mean, it doesn't have to be a superior military force. It's everybody knows arrogance in a military situation will get you killed.
Of course. You're too cocky. That's what happens.
I read once, it was a quote. It said, the most dangerous thing is to underestimate your enemy and be content that you are stronger. I think that's what they did. I think they were convinced they were the mighty Ninth Legion and that there was nothing these Stone Age guys were going to do to them. And I think they either got cut off and surrounded, or they were caught unawares by the sheer numbers of them.
Yeah, I mean, for somebody to do that to them, yeah, their time was due, I guess. You know, it was up.
Yeah. And again, like I said, there have been quite a few movies that were based on it. And if you watch that one with Channing Tatum, and again, I'm not a huge Channing Tatum fan,
Right.
but it's called The Eagle of the Ninth. And no, it's called The Eagle. And there's a book called The Eagle
Right.
of the Ninth. The movie's called The Eagle. And its explanation on what happened to the Ninth is actually pretty good as far as theories go. Again, there's no historical record to back it up. But his father in the movie, his father was a member of the Ninth, and was the Legion disappeared, and that was considered a stain on the family's honor the Eagle of the Legion was lost. So him being a member of the Legion, he decides, you know what, I'm going to go find the eagle. I'm going to bring that eagle back and restore my family's honor. And I won't tell you how the movie goes, but it's actually a pretty good movie. And the combat scenes are really good.
Yeah, I've seen it. It is good.
Oasis is on the wall every day. All the guardhouses exchange position. Each unit, about 20 men, would march to the next guardhouse, spaced out 20 to 25 miles apart if they followed protocol. And I'm sure they did. But it had to have been galling that they had the Ninth Legion there that had fought all over the empire, and they were basically being stopped by a bunch of Pictish tribesmen. And the Picts were extremely fierce. I mean, that's the reason they built Hadrian's Wall. But they were tribesmen. Most of their weapons were stone. They were using bows and arrows with flint tips. I mean, the Legion had to have been basically just galled by that these tribesmen, these Stone Age level tribesmen are putting one of the best legions of the empire, to shame. And
well, I mean, look what's going on right now in the world.
Yeah.
That just goes to prove it right there.
You've got the second most powerful military on the planet,
exactly,
attacking a country about the size of Missouri,
and they're getting their ass kicked. Right, they're getting their ass kicked.
Yeah,
I mean, it like you said, when you get too cocky, that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You get a bunch of people that don't want to be invaded. It's going to happen. So, I mean, that's probably what it did.
Yeah, like I said, there are lots of theories about what happened. I'd love to hear what you guys think. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think they marched north of the wall and then were taken out? Do you think that the unit was disbanded for some reason, which to me makes no sense, but it's entirely possible. Do you think that because of the continued losses to the Picts, they were stripped of their eagle, and the Legion was basically decimated and separated into other units? I mean, there are a lot of possibilities, but not all of them make that much sense.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that would make any sense to me is the Legion went north. If they left a garrison of the Legion of the Ninth behind, that could explain why there was graffiti in the Netherlands. What was left of the Ninth could have been shipped out to another legion, because they would have had to have left some of their force behind to guard the wall, or considered as reserves. So there would have been units attached to the Ninth that weren't the core legion.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say they took their frontline troops, archers and all the guys on the pylons, and headed north, leaving a small garrison behind to help defend the wall. However, I think that might have been their undoing, especially if they didn't have cavalry.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Is my video lagging on your end when I move?
Maybe just a little.
All right, let me jump out and jump back in.
Okay, no problem.
Let me see.
John Abrams says, question, isn't there a Napoleon troops disappearing too? I would have to look into that. It wouldn't surprise me, because we have weird military stories from all over. Pretty much every conflict we've had has had really odd stories that are tough to explain. So it wouldn't surprise me to find out that Napoleon had troops that disappeared as well. Well, what's the consequence to abandon your post and the Roman military would get you executed? They were either drawn out or betrayed, or betrayal was involved. I don't think they abandoned their posts. I think what they did was left garrisons in charge of the wall and tried to stop the threat. And to me, that's just what makes the most sense. I can't see them, quote unquote, abandoning their posts. I think it's more along the lines of, they've been hit so many times they wanted to put a stop to it. Eli Harrison says, this isn't really a theory, but there are stories of large number of soldiers vanishing during wars. I think it was during World War II. There was a troop of Japanese soldiers who disappeared one night. They years later, they found out what happened about that. That troop garrisoned themselves on a small island in the South Pacific. And during the night while they were sleeping, they were attacked by Komodo dragons. Most of them were eaten. John Doe says troops and armies disappear with regularity, and that is rather worrying for their commanders, but as time goes on, it becomes less common. AJ Congdon says, I think they went north and lost a guerrilla war. I think I would agree with that. John Doe says, during the time of Rome, however, the world was poorly understood relatively in a vast, untamed wilderness. Werewolf 5674 says, when you extend, you can be hit while moving and sleeping. You have losses, you can't replace them. Also supply problems. Yeah, once you got north of the wall, you were pretty much on your own. Mark Napier says, if they went into the woods where they were unable to apply the shield wall, they could have been picked apart by guerrilla tactics. That's another good point. John Doe says, not to mention that the record-keeping technology of the time and the constant strife in Rome itself, it wouldn't be that difficult for documentation to be lost.
Mm-hmm.
True, but that's not necessarily the case in this, because we have documentation of the Ninth Legion before, and we have documentation of the roster of all legions right after that time period.
Right.
What it doesn't explain is why a legion vanished from the rolls. We have documentation before and after their disappearance. They just disappeared from the rolls. So it's not like all the records disappeared. The record keeping of the active legions, it just vanished from the rolls of the legions.
Well, they also said that They also said that they reorganized another Ninth Legion, though, too, didn't they?
I think so, but it was much later.
Right.
John Doe says, actually, if the punishment for abandoning the post is being executed, that could offer an explanation for them deserting and never returning.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe again,
that's another thing they've been saying.
Yeah, it is a possibility. I just don't think that's the case. I don't think they abandoned the Hadrian's Wall. I think they garrisoned it, and I think their commander of the Ninth was arrogant enough to think he could stop the Picts, that he could put paid to it once and for all and extend the Roman barrier all the way out to the northern end of Caledonia.
How many years were they there without any contact with Rome? Wasn't it like 12, 15 years?
It was like quite a while. I believe they were first assigned. I want to say, well, the Legion had been in Romania, not Romania, Britannia,
right,
since the invasion, and they invaded Rome. Rome invaded Britannia in 43 A.D. So that means that Legion was garrisoned there for 50 plus years,
and no one's ever contacted them. Right, and that's what everybody was like. There are people that wrote books that said they just, abandoned, like John Doe said, they abandoned their posts and that was it, and they just whittled away into the woodwork and raised families, and that was it. But I mean, you don't hear any contact from anyone over 50 years on an outpost. I mean, too, that would get me thinking.
John Doe says, if they were to unintentionally, whether a small group or large group, abandon their post or commit some other similar offense, they might just decide it'd be better to disappear. Yeah, and
exactly.
But that doesn't entirely explain why that unit was stricken from the rolls.
Right.
Because you would think there would be some explanation on why they were removed, but there's nothing ever been found. John Doe says, similar things have happened in other empires where death penalty just ensures that anyone who would receive it runs or rebels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that was one of the things I seen that they were writing about. Is like they just left their posts and just vanished into the woodwork, married
Uh,
local girls, and that was it.
George Jennings says they could have all died from sickness, but even that would have been documented. It
Yeah.
wasn't like a plague would sweep through them in 24 hours. Oissa says what I was implying was that the Roman legion would never abandon their post, and I agree. The legion of the discipline of the legion was supreme.
Mhm.
I don't see them ever abandoning their post. Maybe they were drawn into a fight. Maybe the Picts kept attacking the one section of the wall and drew them out. That's another possibility. But you would think that the commander of the legion would have left something behind, some sort of
Right.
record of the attack. But that's the strange part, is the Romans, who were notoriously meticulous records keepers, kept nothing of this event.
No, nothing at all.
There's no explanation whatsoever. It's almost as if they vanished overnight. An entire legion just disappeared. John Doe says one of the many Chinese empires was toppled when a military convoy found itself late, realized that the penalty for being so was death, and then realized that the penalty for rebellion was also death.
Yeah.
Oissa Khan says decimation is a reason for no entry in the books, but decimation literally means they kill 1 in 10.
Mm-hmm.
To decimate a legion, they would line them all up and kill 1 out of every 10 soldiers. There's no mention of what happened to the rest. So 90% of the legion would have survived. There's just no mention of what happened to it or any mention of why they were decimated.
No, it skipped right over. It went from all the way to 8, no 9, and 10.
Mm-hmm.
9 wasn't even recorded. And that was the whole thing. No one understood why.
Right.
So,
Mark Napier says, my best guess would be that poor leadership overextended them and got them slaughtered. That's kind of my thought on it too. I don't know if it was the arrogance of the Roman commander that decided just one day, hey, we're going to go put a stop to this, or if the Picts were attacking the walls and skirmish lines and drew them out into a fight they couldn't win.
mm-hmm.
John Doe says they immediately rebelled and ended up winning the ensuing civil war. Derek Buckles says, could the records be in a lost archive? Maybe. I mean, records went missing. Look at the Library of Alexandria, how much we lost. But the problem is that we have existing records of the Roman legion during the time of the 9th and after the time of the 9th.
Mm-hmm.
There's a chunk in there that it goes from like 108 to 120 AD. And there's no mention whatsoever of what happened to that legion, which
Right.
Again, the Romans were meticulous records keepers. You would think there would be something. Wissa says their total destruction is what I was speaking of. The Romans didn't do that. They didn't generally, kill literally everybody in a military unit. That's where the word decimation comes from.
Mm-hmm.
They would punishment for a failure or for loss in battle or anything like that. Anything that would be considered a dishonor to the legion was punished in decimation. They killed 1 in 10 and basically told the rest to get back to work. And now they might have split them up into other units or changed out all the commanders, but I've never read of a case where they literally killed everybody unless it was armed rebellion against Rome. But there's no way the 9th Legion at the far-flung end of Britannia, of the British arm of the Roman Empire, could ever attack Rome itself. They were the only military force out there. So if they decided to replace the military governor of Britannia, the military governor would have had no choice but to do what they said, because the 9th Legion was it. That was their
Right.
military force. So I don't think it was overt rebellion. I don't think there's anything that can explain what would get an entire unit put to death, an entire legion.
It was Bigfoot.
Yeah, it was Bigfoot.
I think I'd stir up the pot a little bit.
There you go. It was
Bigfoot. Yeah.
But it is truly weird. And this is something I looked into at length quite a while back when I wrote my Lost Legion series. The 2 sci-fi books I've got that are being narrated on audio by Sal Passos.
Mm-hmm.
I researched that Lost Legion quite a bit, and I almost named my legion in that book series after the Legio IX, the Hispania, but I decided against it. I decided to go with the Legio Ferrata, the Iron Legion, because it made more sense for the sci-fi setting that they would no longer use titles named after places on Earth. But the Iron Legion was named for their iron discipline. George Jennings says, "Are UFOs?"
Yeah, I seen that. And I guess Sal has a toothache. That's what it.
Sorry, Sal, man. Hope you get
Yeah.
better for you.
Yeah, get better, man. I know how that feels. Trust me.
John Doe says the records could have been lost in one of the many civil wars. That's true, but it doesn't explain why they don't exist when the records start up again. Owissa Khan says is drawn out and killed off. I think that's what happened. I think something happened that drew the Ninth into Caledonia. I think the Picts were using small unit tactics and were attacking either villages or sections of Hadrian's wall, and they underestimated the number of Picts out there, and they drew the Ninth out. And when the Ninth came out, they got cut off and surrounded. So, me personally, I think that makes the most sense. It could have been a case of decimation, could have been, group execution. Yeah, any of that is completely possible, but the probability of it being something far more easily explained, like they thought they were attacking a much smaller force and got led into an ambush, makes a lot more sense.
Well, the history does tell that kind of story.
And the Roman Empire, if the legion went north of the wall and lost, and their eagle standard was taken, they would have stricken them from the rolls. That would no explanation. They just like, nope, we didn't lose.
That could be it too. That could have been it.
To me, that makes the most sense. John Abrams says one thing I noticed: huntsmen are the red shirts of Star Trek. From the wild. If your code name is Huntsman on the Wild Hunt books, you're fair game.
Yeah.
Mark Napier says it would be rough getting attacked by Celts in the day and Gray Man at night. Yeah, that would be nasty. What? There we go. Christian Ardondo says, would Caesar have conquered Parthia? Had he not been killed? Considering the devastating power of the Legion, it would not have surprised me. It was one of the things that people don't really realize about Carthage. When they think about the city-state of Carthage, they think about Hannibal crossing the Alps with elephants and attacking Rome. Well, the thing is Carthage wasn't really that big of a threat to Rome. They just ignored them for far too long. And when Carthage finally got too big for their britches and really pissed off the might of the empire, the Romans sent 3 entire legions to the gates of Carthage. And when they started killing, they left no 2 stones on top of each other. They killed every living thing. And when they were done, they salted the ground so nothing would grow there. That's what happened when Carthage pissed the Roman Empire off too much. 3 entire legions razed that city to the ground.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah. So the Legion was not to be underestimated.
Well, no, I mean the Legion was built. I mean, right off of the Spartacus, the Spartans.
Spartan motto. Yeah, come back with your shield or on it.
Right. I mean, that was their. I mean, the movie 300. That's what actually how Rome was.
Modeled.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, because Persia was threatening them, so everybody, all the villages, all the other towns combined it, and that's when they did. Spartacus was they were the main warriors of the time, so that's where they took it from.
The Legion was built on that kind of discipline.
Yeah.
John Doe says it's commonly thought that some of the legends of the Fae and fairies were inspired by encounters with aliens and UFOs. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
He goes on to say, which are still essentially magic to current understanding of technology, let alone of that day. That's a fact. Robert Sharp says most of the Picts were actually wiped out by the Normans, who also were invading Britannia at the time. But the surviving Picts basically went on to become the ancestors of the Scottish Highlanders. There's a lot of Pictish blood still flowing around up there. Toothaking says maybe we need a book about some sort of soldier troop collecting alien race. That could be interesting. John Doe says there are a few like that, one of which features a UFO getting hijacked by knights and then being used to go on a galactic crusade across the planet. That would be awesome.
Oh, man.
Hooter Transport says, hello all. I keep forgetting the show's on earlier. Sorry about that. Mark Napier says, have you seen the movie Go Tell the Spartans? No, I have not.
No, me either.
Is that a comedy? Because I generally don't watch a lot of comedies.
Me either. I guess it is a comedy. Go Tell the Spartans. No. Yeah, I mean, for them to be stricken out of the record like that, like you said, they had to have lost the eagle and been defeated.
I think the most believable explanation is that they got drawn into a fight they couldn't win, and the eagle fell. Mm-hmm. And when the eagle of a legion was captured, that unit was basically considered dishonored. Right. So that makes the most sense of why they would be stricken from the rolls.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Again, I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be any kind of expert. This is just based on what I've read and what I've observed and what I know of history. What makes the most sense to me, having spent some time in uniform, is that they probably were led into a fight they couldn't win. John Doe says the book is called The High Crusade, and it's a notable early work of science fiction, 1960. Well, that's not that early. I mean, H.G. Wells was writing science fiction in the 1800s. So, and a lot of the really greats of science fiction started in the 40s and 50s. I mean, you've got Philip K. Dick, Isaac Asimov, Robert Heinlein. Most of those guys cut their teeth on the old pulp magazines of the 40s and 50s.
Mm-hmm.
George Jennings says, so that's what happened to the Knights Templar. They seized a spaceship and went on galactic quests.
There you go. Mark said it was a Vietnam movie.
Definitely not a comedy.
Right.
No, I haven't seen it then.
No, I got to look it up.
I'll have to look that one up.
Is it recent, Mark, or is it old? That's it.
I will Google it real quick.
It sounds familiar.
1978.
Really?
Had Burt Lancaster in it. That just tell you how old it is.
Okay. No, I was 8 years old. If it was 78.
Yeah, I was 8 as well. Huh. I might have to find that and watch it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds familiar. Go Tell the Spartans. All right. Yeah, he just put Nelly.
Says it's old in Burt Lancaster's part.
Yeah. I seen that.
Let's see if I can locate that and watch it.
I seen that.
Robert says it was okay. Speaking of movies from Vietnam, a really good one is one of the first movies that R. Lee Ermey was in. It was called Siege of Firebase Gloria. Great movie. Really good movie.
And also, what was it? The Boys of Company C?
Mm-hmm. Another good one.
That he was in. He was a drill instructor in that one, too, also.
George Jennings says he was 18 in 1978.
God bless you, man.
Yeah, that puts you, 10 years older than me, man.
Yeah.
John Abraham says H.G. Wells was a man before his time. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
The Time Machine, the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, The Invisible Man. I mean, those were brilliant. And as far when you start looking at the literature of the day, he was a man apart from everybody else. He was writing sci-fi when no one else was.
Right.
Robert Sharp says, but it's not as good as the Green Berets with John Wayne. Yeah, but what is? I mean, that's kind of
that's a classic right there. Come on now.
Mark Napier says Siege is one of his favorite movies. That's a great one. Great movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff coming out even now.
Lenita Bryant says, hi, everybody. Just popped in to say hello. Hope your tooth feels better, Sal. Prayers. And Lenita, thank you for popping in. John Abraham says, I should do a show on H.G. Wells. That's a good idea. H.G. Wells, he was imagining things long before his time. Nikola Tesla as well.
Yeah,
Nikola Tesla said that one day we would carry communication devices capable of reaching anybody on the planet in the pocket of our vest. And kind of think he was right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he
Tesla
had
was another man ahead of his time.
It was a lot of good stuff. I mean, we could have had free energy.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah.
that government put a stop to that one. Let's see.
Transport says Spartacus got the cool family name, not like his gassy brother Farticus.
Farticus. I just seen that.
That's hilarious.
I seen that. Tesla was way before. Yeah, he was.
Yes, he was. He had knowledge of the EM fields and electromagnetic energy that we still don't understand today.
Yeah, that was another one.
Whew. I'm sweating.
Yeah, me too. Well,
I think my wife hasn't turned the heat off, and it's been in the 70s here all day.
Oh yeah, it was 78 here today. Nice and sunny out. I mean, I am in Florida, so
yeah,
I mean,
it was in the mid 70s here.
So everything's melted down by you? The snow's
the
gone?
ice is gone finally.
No, nice. He died in a hotel. Yeah, he was poor.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Which is very sad.
And that was another thing. A lot of his patents they couldn't find.
Well, when he died, the FBI raided the hotel room he died in, and basically just seized everything. And all of Tesla's notes are still classified. Makes you wonder why.
Yeah.
Cowboys 5 Rings says the 1954 novel Eagle of the Ninth, in which the Legion is said to have marched into Caledonia, modern-day Scotland, after which it was never heard of again. I've got to get that book. Sounds awesome. It is a good book. I read it a long time ago. I want to get another copy of it, as I don't currently own a copy of it, but I've got to see if I can find one. I'm sure Amazon's got it. They've got everything else. John Abraham says that would be a super show, Tesla and H.G. Wells. It makes you wonder if they knew each other because they were contemporaries. I mean, they were alive about the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Sharp says the government has all his patents. Yeah,
oh yeah.
And again, they're still classified. You can't get access to them.
No, you can't get none of them. I mean, look at that one guy. What was that one guy that built that car, that engine that ran on water, and he drove it from what? New York to California.
Ran on the hydrogen released by the water.
Right. It was a Cadillac, and he converted the motor. In fact, I read about it, and a couple months later, GM or Ford wanted to buy the patent off of him. He refused it, and then a couple months later, he came up dead.
Yeah.
His
invention and the notes were seized.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah,
it is what it is. It could be done.
My dad was a mechanic for the Ford garage back in the 50s and 60s, and he told me that at one time they had a prototype for a carburetor that got 100 miles to the gallon, and that got shut up really fast.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, look at what's his name. Oh God, the one that worked at Area 51. Well, Groom Lake. He built a car that ran on hydrogen.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name. Robert Sharp said it was Ford that tried to bad the patent.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Yeah, and that was, they wanted to take it, and he didn't want to sell it.
Right. It's weird how something like that. Oh, there was a guy in Louisiana. This was 30 years ago. He built and designed an engine that was made primarily of high strength ceramics, and
really,
it didn't need any oil. It didn't need lubrication.
I heard about that.
That got shut up too.
Well, of course. Come on.
Supposedly he died in a car crash or something like that.
Look how much money everybody's making off of gas.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's over $100 a barrel already. I mean,
Yeah, when you start threatening, a multi-trillion-dollar operation, yeah.
Robert Sharp, he was dead in a Las Vegas hotel.
Is that the guy with the ceramic engine, or the guy that had the hydrogen car?
I think it was the hydrogen car. Maybe
Yeah,
not.
I think it was because he worked in Nevada.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's so much stuff out there. I mean, you got people inventing stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm. And look how much technology has come. I mean, you and I were both born right around 1970.
No, I was.
Yeah, I was born in June of 1970.
Me too.
And that's weird.
Yeah, what day?
June 1st.
I'm June 21st.
That's wild. We're less than 3 weeks apart.
Yeah, that is nuts.
That's hilarious. Yeah. But I grew up on a farm, and we had a party line telephone. Our television was black and white.
Yeah, I did too.
And got 3 channels.
Yeah. That's all I had. I only had 3 channels. On a clear day, you got
3 channels.
Yeah.
And we didn't know what television cable was. We didn't know what, internet was. We didn't have any of that. But in our lifetime, look how far technology has come.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We're not that old. We're both in our 50s.
Mm-hmm.
With good Lord willing, and the creeks don't get above knee deep, we still got a few years left in us. Look how far that technology has come just in our lifetime.
Yeah, it's true.
And if you look at where the Wright brothers, when the Wright brothers' first flight to modern flight is only just over 100 years.
100 years, and
the Wright brothers' original flight, the entire length of their flight was less than the wingspan of a 747.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrifying how fast technology.
No, there was no cell phones. There was
we went
nothing
from party
like that.
lines to cell phones in our generation.
Yeah, there was nothing like that growing up.
Right.
That was the funny part about it. My son's asking me, "Hey, can I get a cell phone?" I'm like, "You're 12 years old."
Right.
I mean, no.
At 12, I didn't know what a cell phone was.
No, I mean,
because they didn't exist.
There was 3 channels, and that was it. ABC, NBC, and CBS.
We got
that's what I had.
We got the local ABC affiliate. We got the NBC affiliate, and on a good day, we got PBS.
Well, yeah, that was on that was on UHF, wasn't it, or VHF?
Yeah.
There was Kung Fu Theater on Sundays.
Yeah, we didn't have TVs with remote controls. I was the remote.
No.
They had to be like, change the channel.
Yeah, get up and change that. Yeah, I remember that. And then we only had 1 TV in the house.
And of course, you had to adjust the dial to try to get the picture to come in better.
Tin foil on the rabbit ears, just to get it to work.
Yeah, if my boys woke up in that kind of technology tomorrow, they would think the world had come to an end.
Well, look at that one video they show those kids. The grandfather says, "I'll give you guys $1,000 if you can call this number on this phone." He hands them a rotary phone, and he hands it to them, and they're pushing it. They don't know what to do. In this video, I'm like, that's how much, kids nowadays have no idea what it was like growing up. Even back, when our fathers were around, what they went through.
And my dad fought in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the technological advances from when he was born to when he passed away had to be mind-blowing. I mean, he was born before the Great Depression. He was born in 1924.
Yeah.
He survived the Great Depression, worked in the civilian camps, the CCC camps.
Mm-hmm.
He worked in those camps when he was a teenager, and then fought in World War II. So the technological advances in my dad's lifetime must have just been mind-blowing.
No, and they look at nowadays. I mean, the stuff that they have. It's just crazy. I never thought in a million years. Never. Everybody's saying their age.
Yeah. Food Transport said they had a 20-foot tall metal pole with my mom's old metal clothesline for a TV antenna. We had one of those ones that just kind of bolted to the side of the house.
Yeah.
And you had to get a broomstick and kind of turn it once in a while.
Flipping it, yeah.
And if the
That's
wind
what
was
we
real
had.
strong, it blew your TV all out of whack, and you'd have to go out and try to get it readjusted.
Yeah, we had that. Meg says her dad was born in 1921.
Now, my dad was born in 24. My mom was born in
Okay.
28. And my grandfather on my dad's side was born, I want to say 1888.
Really?
My grandfather fought in World War One. My dad and all of his brothers fought in World War II. I had 3 uncles fought in Korea and 3 brothers in Vietnam.
Yeah, well, my family
ever since
wasn't
we
here.
first got here, that's all we've ever done was fight, and we haven't always been good at that.
My family wasn't here until 1901. They landed in Ellis Island.
Richie says he was born in 91. I feel you, brother.
Yeah,
you know what they say, it ain't the years, it's the mileage.
Yeah, I feel it too. Trust me. Yeah, my family was all there. They were all. I looked up Ancestry.com. Everybody that served in the Army, Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
It was just crazy back then.
Yeah, I haven't done the Ancestry.com thing yet. I want to do the DNA test first.
Yeah, we did it. It's pretty cool.
I know on my grandmother's side, my grandmother's maiden name was Hamilton, and we're supposedly a direct line descendant from Alexander Hamilton on that side of the family. But on my dad's side of the family, they're all just potato farmers from Scotland and Ireland.
That's my uncle. I mean, we go at, same thing. I mean, I'm all Italian, Sicilian. And that was the whole, like I said, my family wasn't here until 1901. Well, my last name wasn't here until 1901.
Mm-hmm.
My mom's side of the family, they were here, I think, a little bit earlier, but, my last name didn't arrive into Ellis Island until that time, 1901. But I guess back then everybody served, everybody fought. I mean, I went through the ancestry. I couldn't believe all my last name, how many of my relatives served in the armed forces, and it was like it's crazy, just crazy, because my last name is not common. Not true. At all. It's not common.
When I met you, was the first time I'd heard it.
Right. It's not like Smith or like your last name. My last name is not common. So if you have my last name, you're related to me somehow.
I was told that the last name of Roberts in the Dublin, Ireland phone book takes up 9 pages.
Mm-hmm. Oh, just like my uncle. My uncle's last name is Allen. I mean, you look up Allen, even here, it's like 20 pages long in the phone book. Scotland.
Yeah, my Scottish family were all farmers.
Yeah, if you do that, if you go into Ancestry, like you were saying, they'll actually show you your family crest.
Mm-hmm.
They'll actually send it to you. Yeah, I mean, I have mine. They'll show you what it looks like and everything. So it's pretty cool. I mean, you'll find out stuff that you never knew.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that at some point, but I really want to do the DNA thing.
That's what we did. We did that, and then the stuff that came up, I was like, "Come on, all by that. You got 5% of this in you, and you got 2% of this in you, So,
I think my DNA is going to come back about 70% potato.
Well, like me, I'm in my ancestry. I got 2% of Moor.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Moors conquered Sicily more than once,
So you've got Moorish blood in you at some point.
Yeah, somewhere along the line.
Well, my mother's side of the family, my great grandfather was the sheriff of a ghost town out in Colorado called Dove Creek, and in the family Bible it lists him as having 2 wives. His first wife died of consumption, but his second wife was full blood Apache. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't say which wife he had his kids with. So there could be a large chunk of Apache in me that I'm unaware of.
You probably have it.
So that's one of the reasons I want to do the DNA, is to kind of find out how, where my bloodline comes from, because the Bible was not, our family Bible was not specific on which wife bore the children.
Yeah, it's pretty cool how they do it.
Yeah.
They'll give you a whole pie chart and they'll break it down for you. It is cool.
I need to do that. Cowboys 5 ring says coat hanger for an antenna. Yep, been there.
We've done
Been there,
that too,
that.
man.
Coat hanger with tinfoil on it.
Growing up, we got channel 6, 13, and PBS. Yeah, we got that. Every time we do this, we get off a topic, but it's it is what it is. Oh well.
Yeah. Well, we've pretty much hit the theories on the Lost Legion.
Yeah.
I mean,
Everybody's
it's not like we can come up with this big off the wall theory how Bigfoot did it or the Loch Ness monster ate him.
Right. I mean,
they reached the shores of Loch Ness and the Loch Ness monster ate them. I think we've pretty much established the possible outcomes for what could have happened to the Ninth.
That's true.
And I've said pretty much what I think it was, and we've had a few other good ideas on what it possibly could be. But history just doesn't say. It's one of those great mysteries of history, and there's a lot of them.
And
I love those little historical mysteries like that. Those that really make history fun to read. Folks, if you're enjoying the show tonight, or if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. And if you look down at the bottom of the screen on your on the YouTube page, you'll see the like, subscribe, and a join button. You can join the channel and become a member and have access to exclusive videos that are posted only for the members of the channel and for the patrons of the Patreon community. I hope you guys will check that out. You also, when you join the channel, you also get special emoticons. You can use special emojis you can use in chat. Lene Perkins says, my Irish ancestors came to America during the Great Potato Famine. Most of mine came during what was known as the Highland clearances, which is it's a pretty sad time in Scottish history if you know anything about it. Northwoods Cryptid says, TV remote, that would have been my job to change the channel. Right there. Robert Sharp says, could be a combination of disease and strikes on the Ninth Legion too. Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities.
There's a bunch of stuff.
For my own personal beliefs, what makes the most sense to me is that they either marched north of the wall or they were drawn out and were wiped out. And I think that's what happened to the Ninth. But the trouble is we'll never really know.
You see what John Doe put?
Yeah, since people used to not even have TVs. I remember that there was a time when the concept of a film was with audio was astounding and fresh. Or people would, instead
radios.
of TV, would gather around the radio for the old radio serials. I used to have some of those old radio serials.
Yeah, my dad would tell me stories. The Lone Ranger, the Shadow. I mean, that was pretty cool back then, I guess.
Sal says, you guys have some great ancestral history. My only claim to fame is that I'm related to John Philip Sousa. Well, that's pretty cool.
Well, yeah.
I can't really claim that I've got anybody famous that I'm related to.
Yeah, but what's Sal's last name?
Passos. Salvatore Passos. I think he's Italian.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How can you not have like a cool background? You got to have something in your background, Sal. Come on.
John Doe says, and of course, the famous train film, which caused its viewers to run in fear that the actual train was rolling towards them.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and if you're going to talk about anything that people experienced and went nuts over, you can't talk about anything without talking about the old War of the Worlds. That had the entire country panicking that we were really under Martian invasion, which is just absolutely fantastic. I mean, I would love to write something like that one day that people went, holy crap, is this happening?
And now your video froze, DA.
Did it?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Can you still hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Huh. Well, hopefully we don't lose the channel.
Yeah. What did Sal say?
Says, I became a Patreon today. Wanted to support one of my favorite cryptid writers. You and Cam are my top two. Awesome. Thank you so much. I have not been on my Patreon site today, but I will make sure to get on there and send you a thank you note and welcome you to the group.
And Cam is supposed to be releasing that new audio on his channel of oh God. One of my favorite what's his character that he came up with?
His new Steve Lilly.
Yeah, the new Steve Lilly's supposed to be
Yeah,
released.
I'm also got another Steve Lilly story in the works, so hopefully we'll have that one done before long.
Yeah, he's supposed to have that done.
Sal Passo says he was Portuguese. I'm related to him on my grandmother's side.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got a lot of relatives in Venezuela and Argentina.
Cool.
That are Italian.
Guerrero 5604 says Sousa was a Marine.
Who?
John Philip Sousa was in the Marine Corps, apparently.
Yeah.
I remember it, so yeah, I know about him. Probably where my love of music comes from. And they says, you're welcome, already got a thank you email. Well, thank you so much from me personally. Eli Harrison says, I heard when trains could finally reach sustained speeds, people were worried because they didn't know that length of speed would do to the human body. Yeah, same thing with the old Model A and Model T cars. People were concerned what that much speed would do to the human body. When you look back at it, you're like, I could walk and keep up with one of those things. Or, a good fast horse would pass one.
Yeah, they did a lot of messing with those cars too. What's his name would do it? What is that gang? I'm trying to think of the gangster's name.
Al Capone.
Derringer.
Oh, Dillinger.
Dillinger. He would actually mess with the engines and make them faster. I know that. That was pretty cool.
Dillinger was an interesting character.
Oh well, yeah. Back then they were all.
Then you've got the legend of Lucky Luciano, where he was actually reported to have helped the army with the invasion of Sicily.
Yeah, that was true. That was documented.
Yeah. He was allowed to stay out of prison, but on the condition he didn't come back to the United States.
Yeah, because he stayed over there. Once Mussolini was killed, well, he's the one that organized to have Mussolini killed. That
legend has it that later after the war he became capo di tutti capi of Sicily, which doesn't surprise me.
No, me either. I mean,
I hear from what I read about the guy in history, he would have been an interesting guy to have a conversation with. I wouldn't want to piss him off, but I would love to have sat down and had a cup of coffee with the man.
They said he wasn't that violent, though. I mean, as far as he was in public, he wasn't. Behind closed doors is another story. But yeah.
That's funny. Hooter Transport says, "Where's Josh? He's not going door to door with copies of the Watchtower, is he?" No, I haven't talked to Josh today. He's working. Must be running behind because he usually at least pops into chat.
Where's Doc up to? Is he on a?
I texted Doc earlier. I think he's out of town. He never did get back to me. Last I talked to him, he had family in, so he may still be with family. So haven't heard anything from him today. Lanita's heading to bed. Good night, Lanita. It is snug in here. It's 70-some degrees today, and I don't think my wife turned the heat off. So it's about 8 million degrees in my office.
So you're sweating.
My office is a cubicle. Well, speaking of Doc.
He's on.
Doc, how the hell are you? They were just asking about you.
Wyatt, I am rolling. I made better back from that report. So, and I thought. I forgot to text you
earlier, and I'm like,
man.
well, shit, I guess I ain't going to hear from him tonight.
I'm sorry about that, man. I was driving. I didn't hear my phone ding.
You're all right, brother. You all right. I figured you was busy.
Yeah.
Well, we already pretty much covered the topic.
Well,
look at that.
I have a good.
He got the count. That was good, man. The snowmobile.
That is perfect.
That may or may not be bourbon in there. I don't know.
May or may not. Huh?
I don't know.
Well,
You can either confirm or deny. That's right. Hey, Sal. Hey, Mark. So, the Lost Roman Legion. That sounds interesting. I wish I'd have been here for the first hour.
Legio IX Hispana. They were garrisoned along Hadrian's wall. And about 109 AD, they just vanished from the rolls of the Roman Legion. There's speculation that they went north of the wall and were wiped out by the Picts. There's speculation that they were basically wiped out by Rome for treason. There's a lot of speculation, but the problem is is the Ninth exists on the official rolls of the Legion before 109, and then after 120, they're gone. There's no mention of what happened to them.
I mean, because it's like, Hadrian put the wall. He said, it's like, those bastards are crazy. We're not going up there.
Right.
And I mean, that could have been. I think that's a plausible thing that the Picts could have wiped them out, because those Picts they were vicious.
Oh yeah.
I mean, some of their battle tactics, I remember reading about those dudes when I was a kid. They would seriously they would throw themselves on the spears of the legionnaires, just so their other guys would come in and, shank them. So
Derek Buckle says, have they found other legions' eagles? Yes, a lot of the eagles of the other legions are in museums around Italy. And usually when a legion was stood down, their eagle was returned to Rome. But
the standard went back home.
The Legion, the Ninth Legion, nobody knows what happened to the eagle of the Ninth.
So there's literally no physical evidence of them ever existing whatsoever.
After 109, they're listed. They are listed as part of the Roman force that took Britannia, took England in 54 AD, and they were supposedly garrisoned there up until 109, and after 109, they just simply disappear from history.
Like a fart in the wind, just
pretty
gone.
Much.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah, I've never heard of
like an E4 when a work detail's called.
All you see is a vapor trail. They're gone.
All you see is a bunch of confused E3s and E2s going, where the hell did he go? He was there 1 second.
E6 comes out there in a bunch of E4s and goes, I need a volun. And by that time, it's just a vapor trail. Everybody's scattered like cockroaches.
It's like the creature effect from Predator. They just or that scene where Homer Simpson steps backwards into the bushes.
Yeah. That's hilarious, man. That's a Lene, you go right ahead. My throat was a little bit scratchy too, darling. So medicinal purposes only. That's what my grandma used to say. My grandma Daughtry used to say, come on over here for a wee dram just for medicinal purposes.
That's right. Cowboys 5 Ring says, DA, I recently discovered George Haas, who had a newsletter going back in the 70s called the Bigfoot Bulletin. The house he lived in is now a medical office right down the street from my job. That's awesome. I will have to look him up and see if I can find some of those bulletins. That would be a cool read.
That would be. I'm going to have to check out this Lost Roman Legion, man. And it was Legion 109?
No, the
Ninth Legion. Okay.
Yeah, the Ninth Legion. Legio IX Hispana.
Okay. I'm going to check that out. Yeah. Because, I mean, the fact that they were right there, Britannia and Caledonia, that's what Scotland used to be called, was Caledonia, right there at Hadrian's Wall. I mean, if they went north, there's
the thing that makes the most sense to me is if the Picts started hitting Hadrian's Wall in a series of small skirmishes and drew them out, then hit them with a much larger force, that would explain what happened. They just basically went north of the wall, and that was it. They got cut off and couldn't get back.
Literally. And I mean, because those Picts they had some good guerrilla warfare tactics going on back in the day.
Mark Napier says the Thundering Legion was Legio 12 Fulminata. I'll have to check them out. That does sound pretty interesting.
That's very interesting. Now I would not want to get called out there with a bunch of picks.
No kidding. Derek Buckle says, did the Legion go through? That's the big debate. Some people say they might have been disbanded, but for me, what makes the most sense is they went north of Hadrian's Wall. I think they went through, and I think they were never heard from again. Derek says, did the legions go through a reorganization anytime around 50 to 109 AD? Not to my knowledge, because the records up to 109 list the Ninth Legion as being part of the active rolls. But then the next big census of the Legion takes place in 120, and in 120 they're gone. No mention of what happened to them whatsoever.
That is so crazy.
Yeah, to me, what makes the most sense is they got drawn out, or out of
Yeah.
just sheer arrogance, the commander of the ninth said, "You know what? We're going north, and we're going to put paid to these Stone Age screw heads once and for all." And it didn't work out too well for them.
Yeah, because even if they would have went back to Rome, there would be some kind of record of them coming back somewhere.
Right. Exactly.
Even if they came back in disgrace and were executed, there'd be something there.
And there would be mention of what legion took over at Hadrian's Wall, and there's not.
Right. That's pretty cool. That's one of my bucket list things to do is go to Hadrian's Wall next time I go over.
Yeah, there's sections of it that you can still walk along it. I mean, walk next to the wall. Some of the best archaeological digs in England that have netted some of the best examples of Roman age equipment and architecture, or right along Hadrian's Wall.
Yeah, buddy of mine was telling me about that. He went over there to visit. He went to Hadrian's Wall, and he's like, "Yeah," he said they've found a multitude of artifacts out there. So that'd be a good bucket list item to accomplish.
Heck yeah, it would be.
Right on. I'm enjoying this new mug.
When I do the book on Gideon, I'm going to have to make a mention of him being at the wall.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll. That's before Davidson's time, or is it?
Or is it?
Or is it? That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, I just I hadn't started reading.
Got it dead on. Wiped out my naked blue crazy Scots. Robert Sharp says, "Good night, guys. Good show. Thank you, sir. Hope you have a great night."
Now, Robert. Naked blue crazy Scots. That about sums it up, man. I mean, that's the whole reason he built the wall. He's like, all right, we're not building it to keep us from going there, or them from getting us. We're trying to keep us from going in there, keep them contained.
Yeah.
They're a little bit nuts.
Definitely. Well, that's kind of going to be said of Scots now.
That's true. It's like the old thing. Everybody's a little Irish on St. Patrick's Day, except for the Scots. We're still Scots.
That's right. When I worked at Greene County, one of our directors at the jail was Irish, and him and I used to give each other crap constantly. And one day, right before I was getting off work the morning of St. Patrick's Day. And I was getting ready to head out the door. I was working an overnight shift, and CE looks at me and he goes, "Hey, Roberts." I'm like, "Yes, sir." He's like, "Tell me, how does the Scots celebrate St. Patrick's Day?" And I just looked at him and I'm going, "Well, that's the one day a year you bastard Irish try to drink like a Scot." And I thought he was going to pee himself. He was laughing so hard.
That's awesome, man. I remember when I worked at the hospital up in Boulder, we had one of our security guys, Jimmy, can't remember his last name, but he was from Ireland, and he worked the RUC back during the 70s, during the Troubles. Mm-hmm. And man, the stories he could tell, it was pretty good stuff. Mark Napier, I can say that because I are one.
Yeah, same here, man.
Same. I'm not blue, though. A little bit crazy. Definitely.
Depends on how cold it is.
And what's exposed. Yes.
Exactly. Yes. I found something I meant to send to you just the other day. I can see if I can find it.
All right.
I know I've got it here somewhere. Give me just a sec. There it is. God dang it. Go away. It says, "Scotch whiskey is made from barley and the morning dew from an angel's nipples."
That's pretty good.
Pretty accurate.
Aye, that's true. That's true. It's like the wee tears of angels sliding down your throat. It's glorious.
Right there with you.
Okay. So
Derek Buckle says it states that Roman censuses were every 5 years, have 110 census been found. I believe that's where they disappeared. But I know they were still on the rolls as of 109.
I mean, I think that's the best theory. I think that you got, DA. On them going up north and getting just
To me, it's what makes the most
wiped
sense.
out, wiped out to a man.
And that makes sense why they would strike a legion from the rolls, because the Romans didn't want to admit a defeat. So rather than saying, yeah, the ninth was one of our legions that fell in battle and lost their eagle, like, nope, there's no ninth.
Yeah, and there's so much territory up there. I mean, that eagle may be buried in a cave somewhere. They may never, or in a bog. They may never find it.
Or it could have been melted down centuries ago.
There you go. Turned into weapons. Another good question from Derek. Were there any natural disasters at that time?
Not that I'm aware of. Nothing that stands out in my mind. I would like to look more into that time period, but if it would have been really a bad storm, you wouldn't think it would have wiped them all out. Be that far inland. Maybe the ones that were coastal. But even then, you would think there'd be some record of it.
Yeah, you think there'd be some, or at least some sort of physical trace of them having been there. That's my big thing is, like, there's no physical evidence that they were even in existence. It's just poof, gone. So
one of these days they're going to be unearthing a graveyard somewhere north of Hadrian's Wall. Some Pictish graveyard. Yeah. Like, what's this giant golden eagle?
Yeah.
I mean, they could have buried him in a mass grave. Yeah, who knows? Or they'll come walking back through the Bermuda Triangle.
Roman armor.
The Picts didn't have that crap.
They didn't have steel armor. What the hell?
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Did you know the Roman pilum was designed in such a way that when it was thrown, it would bury itself in its target and bend so it couldn't be thrown back?
No, I didn't know. I didn't even knew that.
It was made out of soft. The tip, the front, like 1.5 feet, 2 feet of the tip was made out of soft iron instead of being forged. So it had a sharp tip. It would punch through a shield or punch through a breastplate, and when it hit, the weight of the rest of the shaft, which was wood, would bend it so they couldn't throw it back. They were designed to never be used back against them.
That's pretty ingenious.
Romans were brilliant.
Yeah. Just the way that they had two different versions of the gladius, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They had the cavalry version, the foot soldier version, and then they had one for officers. And the officers wasn't called a gladius; it was called a spatha. It looked like a gladius, only longer. It was longer than a regular gladius.
Okay.
Yeah, Mark Napier has a good point about the pilum. He says, God, I clicked on the wrong one, dang it. So Mark says, but after the battle could be recovered and repaired. Not necessarily repaired. They just took that soft iron tip and unscrewed it out of the wooden handle and screwed a fresh one into it. And then just chucked the other one, the bent tip in the burn pile to be forged and used again. Derek Buckles says, as much as some of that has been turned over, I'm surprised that no records have been found. So it seems a purposeful redaction from history. And to me, the only thing that would explain why they would strike the ninth from their legion, from the legionnaires' rolls, is if they lost in battle. And that's generally about the only way a Caesar would do it, is if they'd been dishonored in battle. So to me, it just points back that they went north of Hadrian's Wall and lost.
Mm-hmm.
And no sign of them has ever been found. I think they were drawn out well north of the wall, got cut off, couldn't make it back, and basically got picked apart. No pun intended. Picked.
So there was no encampment. I mean, they would have taken all that crap with them more than likely.
Yeah.
Just to go north.
Yeah. Derek Buckle says the legion size was about 6,000. So it doesn't make sense that 6,000 men would just vanish from the rolls with no explanation. It makes much more sense that they got wiped out.
Man, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's bigger than that's bigger than a battalion size.
Yeah.
Holy crap, man.
It'd be
it was
like
big.
sending
I mean, it
the 82nd in to an area and never hearing from them again.
Yeah. Man, that's nuts. Man, y'all are just coming with all kinds of good tidbits. That one from Mark.
The legions had studded sandals so they wouldn't slip in the gore of battle, except in the wintertime when they actually wore boots. But here's the weird thing, and this is a little historical footnote that you may not know. Did you know that the average Roman soldier had better field medical care than militaries up until the First World War?
Really?
The Roman legion carried their own quote unquote surgeons into battle with them. They brought their own medical units, and they were able. A wounded centurion was provided better medical care than any soldier up until World War One.
Pretty cool.
And
I think that's
they
pretty fascinating.
And they used tourniquets on the battlefield during those days. The tourniquets were very crude, bronze and copper leather straps. But they actually used tourniquets on the battlefield back then.
And they would drag the guy off and cauterize that son of a gun too.
They would.
Yeah.
They weren't going to be able to reattach it. They knew that flat out.
One of the things that they also used with their bandages, something Napoleon used. Well, he used sugar, and honey at some point. But they used honey as a natural bacteriostatic because, and because the bacteria eats the sugar and the honey. And honey's got natural healing properties, so it healed the wound without infection. Just wrap it up in bandages. It's pretty cool stuff, man. They were pretty advanced. I mean, trepanation on the skull. So all kinds of neat stuff.
It's pretty impressive the abilities the Legion had. I mean, when it comes to combat and the height of the Legion, they were unmatched.
Yeah, they were. It's like Derek Buckles. Let me see here. There you go. Kind of scary considering some of the advanced war later on from different wars. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, sugar, like you said, was a big part of it. I mean, that's what they used.
Yeah, sugar, honey, all of that. Because that's the same reason we sugar cure or salt cure meat. Because the bacteria gets that versus the meat, the good stuff. So that's all we are is a big bag of meat. Some of us are smoked, some of us are not smoked.
Exactly.
Sam, the fact that they used, there you go. The fact that they used an early version of a tourniquet is amazing too.
Yeah, I remember seeing some of those. It was when I was first starting the business up, and I was doing a lot of research on tourniquets and everything. They had actually found some. I don't know if it was on a battlefield, but it was in a museum. And I was like, man, that would be so cool to see a tourniquet that was used way back, way back then. Ancient Greece, and ancient Rome. They both, their soldiers carried tourniquets they had tourniquets in the battle. The earlier ones were more like ligatures. It was big, like leather straps. Yeah. And then they figured out later on, hey, we're cutting the hell out of their tissue. So later on, they came out with the wider ones that were actually padded with leather. So it was interesting, man. Very interesting stuff.
Yeah, I've always been pretty fascinated by the Legion. Just not just a respect for the discipline of the Legion, but the fact that they were able to like tear down and rebuild their encampment every day. It wasn't like just picking up and moving a bunch of tents. They had everything laid out in specific coordinates. Everything went in its place every single time. Every soldier carried a piece of the wall, and when they got to their place, they just rebuilt their fortifications. Every night every morning they would tear down their encampment with fortifications, and at the end of the day they would rebuild it. It's fascinating. Amazing. It's fascinating what they were able to do.
And just like the shield wall, the phalanx.
Yeah.
Or the testudo.
That tactic, yeah. And how many years was that used in the battle? Good Lord.
And then other civilizations copied it. I mean, even the Vikings used a shield wall, and that had to have been based on their first encounters with the Romans, because nobody was doing that before. Well, the Greeks did it, but after the Roman Empire, they pretty much pioneered that tactic. And the testudo and everything that they were able to do is just astounding. And that all falls into their discipline. Sorry.
Yeah, and you'd even see that tactic used in castle sieges during the medieval times.
Right.
With the shield walls and everything. So
they did it
centuries.
Sparta, during Spartan. Yeah. The same thing.
The Hot Gates, Battle of Thermopylae. Yeah.
Well, the Spartan shields were round. The Roman shields were specifically designed to link up and overlap.
Yeah.
So you didn't just form a shield wall with these little triangular gaps where the circles didn't meet up. They had an interlocking wall with gaps just barely big enough to shove a sword through.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, the tactics they devised, the infantry tactics. Hell, a lot of our modern infantry tactics are still derived off stuff the Romans did, 2,000 years ago.
Glad we're using their tactics, not Napoleonic tactics. I think they kind of figured out that shit didn't work in the Civil War.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Let's get away from going in first and second and third waves. Screw that. We could do a little guerrilla warfare.
Absolutely. Well, we also know not to chase the Russians into their own territory.
Yeah.
Fact.
Because they will poison every well, burn every crop, and poison the ground behind them.
Yeah. It is scorched earth, man.
I don't know how well that would work today
Jonathan.
with modern supply abilities to drop in supplies by air.
It kind of would change the face of it a little bit, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Derek Buckle says, let's go into Russia in winter.
Yeah. Ask Germany how that worked in World War II, huh?
Or Napoleon.
Yeah, or Napoleon. Yeah.
Didn't work out very well for either of them.
No, and I vividly remember when I was 11 years old, I was reading a World War II book, and it was a German soldier who was marching into Russia. And this kind of gave me my thing for medicine, maybe too. But he wrote in his journal, "I can feel my toes rattling around in the ends of my boots." His toes had literally got frostbitten and fell off inside his boots, and they were rolling around in his boots like rocks. I was like, that was brutal. That burned an indelible mark into my 11-year-old brain, man. I have not forgotten that. I was like, I don't ever want to be brutal. That is brutal. Hey. So Marie said, my husband's grandpa, she helped beat back the Russians during World War II.
Awesome.
Kind of like the White Death. What was it? Simo
Hayek.
Hayek, that's it. Yeah.
The White Death. That Finnish sniper. Oh my God.
Yeah, that dude was a stud, man, for sure.
Yes,
but the woman, there was a woman that was the most highly decorated sniper in World War II that they never talk about from Russia.
I'm pretty sure she was Russian.
Yeah, she was Russian.
Ludmila something. I can't remember her last name.
Yeah, she was lethal. Sal Paso says, Dan Robertson, everyone heading out, guys. See you on Saturday. Sal, have a great night, man. Hope you get feeling better with your teeth.
Sal, feel better, man. Have a good night.
Yeah, they made that movie about what is it? Enemy at the Gate.
That was a good movie.
Yeah.
Yes,
not entirely sure how historically accurate it was, but it was a good movie.
I think she had like over 200 kills during World War II.
That was a lot. Yeah, Sal did a little voice thing for something he's doing for me, and it turned out really well.
Nice.
Really, really cool for his podcast. So
cool.
Doc, you got a med kit to show us tonight? You left it in the shop, didn't you?
No. I was going to ask you.
I did leave it in the shop, man.
Did you get those knives from Scallywag yet, or no?
I got a notification that they'd been delivered, and they weren't on my porch. Somebody either porch pirated them, or or UPS delivered them to the wrong house. I was talking to
Get out of here!
Greg earlier
Really?
today. They were stolen off my porch, or UPS just kept them.
That's messed up.
UPS is claiming they delivered them, but they never showed up. Yeah, I've been talking to Craig already about that. And he's like, well, UPS says they delivered them. I'm like, well, I'm telling you, they never got here. Either somebody took them off the porch, or they said they put them on someone else's porch and claimed it was mine.
Man, that's horrible. I'm sorry.
Yeah, man, sorry.
Yeah, there was some good stuff in that box too.
I was gonna say,
when I get my stuff when I get my Teespring payout this month, I'm going to buy some stuff from Scallywag, like patches and a flag and a couple things like that, some things like that to give away on the channel.
that's pretty messed up. Wasn't it insured or anything, or no?
I don't know. It was shipped from Scallywag, so I'm assuming there was something on it. But there were some knives in that will probably never be seen again, because they were, one of them was the Dew Claw, which has been out of stock for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so somebody got a really nice package with some nice stuff in it.
That's messed up.
So I'm not real happy about it, but that's where we're at.
Wow.
So it's either a case of UPS delivered it to the wrong house and said they delivered it to the right address,
which they're good at.
You wouldn't think would happen in a day of GPS technology. It could take them to my front porch. So you wouldn't think they would deliver it to the wrong house, but the only other option is somebody stole it off my porch.
I got an idea. Y'all keep talking to you. I'll talk about something. I don't have a med kit, but I want to talk about something.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
that's pretty messed up.
Yeah, I was.
You don't have cameras
happy.
outside, do you?
No, I don't. I'm going to get a Ring doorbell. I've got to. Jay and I'm right there with you, man. If somebody took it off the porch, I'm pretty sure I know who in my neighborhood would do it. But proving it's another thing entirely. John Abraham says, I was just rereading some of the Bigfoot Bulletin good stuff. Yeah, I'm going to have to check that out. Marie Cargelanian says, can you have them delivered to your work? Well, unfortunately, I work from home. So I could have it delivered to my P.O. box, which is probably what I'm going to have to start doing.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, so just so I know it's going to be locked up until I go up with the key. Mark Napier says, unhappy is putting it lightly. Yeah, I was ready to chew titanium because I knew they should have been delivered. And so I texted Craig, and he's like, hey, bud, I'm showing it was supposed to have been delivered on the 22nd. I'm like, no, I never got it. And
wow.
So he contacted UPS, and UPS, of course, swears up and down they delivered it to the right house. So the only thing I can say is UPS delivered it to the wrong place and just doesn't want to admit it, or somebody just straight up stole it off my porch, which either case, I'm not happy.
Yeah, that is messed up.
Bill Sloan says, I was lucky I got my Scallywag delivery yesterday and my Dark Angel delivered today. Life is good. Awesome. And I get notifications on my phone when I'm supposed to get deliveries, but I never got a notification that was delivered. And I work from home, so it's not like I wasn't home to get it.
So maybe it wasn't even delivered, like you said.
We've got the built-in package delivery alarm system, my dog Harley, because every time they deliver a package, they scan it and you hear that beep. Well, Harley goes absolute ape shit at the door every time that beep happens. So it leads me to believe it was never even delivered, even though they claim it was. Derek Buckle says, Cam did a great job narrating the story from Afghanistan. Well, thank you, man. I really enjoyed Cam's narration. That story is called Dog Soldier. You can listen to it for free on the Dixie Cryptid channel. Just look for, I'll post the link into the chat in case anybody hasn't listened to that. And you can also get the book that it's in. It's available on it's available in print and in Kindle on Amazon. It's called Codename Wild Hunt, Operation Lily, and Other Stories. But I will post the the story I wrote that Cam narrated on the Dixie Cryptid into the chat right now. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to this yet, it's called The Bigfoot Clan Killed in Afghanistan on the Dixie Cryptid channel. I just posted the link. It's based on a story I wrote because called Dog Soldier. It's about Will Gray Eagle's time in Afghanistan. Doc did the medical commentary on it, and he makes a cameo. So I hope you guys will give it a listen and check it out. I also have a new audio book available, narrated by Sal Passos. It just came out. It is the narration of The Lost Legion Perdition's Flames, my sci-fi story that's based on a futuristic military unit based off the Roman Legion.
I believe I've got that one downloaded. Yep.
Awesome.
Let me listen to it this weekend.
I just happened to have.
I haven't listened to it yet either.
I just happened to have some download codes for that, for a free download. So let me wake up Mr. Nightbot and see if he's awake, and we'll give a code away.
Let's spin the wheel.
Hello, Nightbot. Are you awake? Okay. If you guys haven't, I'm going to set that up right now. So if you guys haven't made a comment in the last few minutes, start. Even if you're just saying hi, blue cow, any random thing you want to put in the chat. If you want to be in the Nightbot drawing to win that, you have to be logged in on the YouTube channel, watching the live broadcast on YouTube, and you have to have been active within the last few minutes. I'm going to give it a few minutes to let Nightbot pick up a few. Right now, only 4 people are eligible, so get those comments rolling. Nightbot doesn't start actually taking names until I activate it, and I literally just activated it, so it's everything that's everybody that's commented in like the last 2 minutes. Up to 5 people eligible. So everybody keep them comments running.
Y'all get up to 20. There's 55 of y'all in here.
That's right. And if you haven't hit that like or subscribe button, I hope you get a chance to do that. And while Nightbot is chewing on that, Doc's got something to tell us about his med kit. So Doc, take it away, my brother.
All right, brother. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about some things people need to have in a no crap med kit. Because I always talk about minor first aid. That's your boo-boos. That's your bandages, your burn gel, things like that. Your Band-Aids, sunscreen, chapstick, whatever. Motrin, Hello Kitty Band-Aids, things like that. But there's major trauma first aid, or major first aid. I like to call it trauma first aid. So let's talk about that for a second. I'm going to talk about Pocket Doc's top 5 items. All right. So my top 5 items, things that need to go in your med kit. First off, some good nitrile gloves, at least 3.5 mils thick. You want to get exam grade gloves. You don't want to get the Home Depot contractor gloves, anything like that, because there's a big difference between exam grade and contractor grade gloves. You may end up getting holes in these or micro tears, and that's the reason we wear gloves, is to protect against cooties. And again, nitrile, I don't want anybody's cooties on me, man. We had to say it in the medical field: if it's wet and sticky and ain't yours, don't touch it without gloves. So protection against cooties. So carry at least a couple of pairs of these in a kit, and if you put one pair on, slide the other pair on over it, because if you try to monkey around with somebody, your glove gets torn or anything like that, you have to go to another patient, you strip those off and you got a fresh pair on underneath there, because if you try to put these on, a new pair on after you strip an old pair off, it ain't happening. So next thing, a tourniquet. Okay. This is a CAT Gen 7 combat application tourniquet, and it, a belt ain't going to do it. I can tell you that right now. A belt's designed to keep your britches up over your butt. So carry a definite TCCC recommended tourniquet. The CAT Soft T are the ones we carry in our store. Next thing you need to carry, I would highly recommend some sort of hemostatic gauze. That's combat gauze. Quick clot combat gauze. This is one of the most studied and most used items out there. It has over 90% success rate the first time it's used, if it is used correctly, because This stuff acts on two things. It acts on compression to create coagulation. So we're trying to create a big old nasty clot in there. We're using this gauze to create pressure down in that wound. If you're using this, you got 12 feet of gauze right here. You need something to reinforce it. And that's where a pressure bandage comes into play to help hold that sucker into place. Pressure bandages also work well for an adjunct to your hands if you don't have the time. So you can just wrap a pressure bandage on. These things will add about 30 to 50 pounds per square inch of pressure over a wound. That's number 4. Number 5, some chest seals. So right there, you got to have some chest seals. So anything, we want to seal that box up if you have any kind of penetrating thoracic injuries all the way around to make sure we don't let any air from the outside, because we got positive pressure on the outside, negative pressure on the inside, and that's a bad thing. So air follows a path of least resistance. These 3 holes right here that God gave you, those are the only ones you're supposed to be breathing through. I think a lot of folks tend to breathe through the mouth than the nose, and that's a bad thing, but we ain't going to go there. But use some chest seals in there. So that's my top 5 items: gloves, tourniquets, hemostatic gauze, pressure bandage, and chest seals. If you could put one more thing in there, if you got a little bit of room, I'd recommend throwing this little jewel in there. This is just a Mylar blanket. This can be the difference between life or death, because it keeps people warm, even on a hot summer day in Missouri. DA knows this. Anthony, you're down there in Florida, hot summer day. Somebody can lose enough blood. Your blood, it switches your thermostat off. You'll get cold. If somebody gets cold, hypothermic from hemorrhage, massive hemorrhage, they can lose their ability to clot. If they lose their ability to clot, they will bleed even more. So that's my top 5, and this little jewel right here is another good thing to throw in there. So top 5 items, that makes a trauma kit a trauma kit. Don't buy your crap off of Fleabay or Amazon or anything like that, because it can be third-party sourced. You can come to us, and DA will throw a code up here in a second. Hooter Transport has a good question. What's a good med kit for a truck? Man, that's a great question. I was going to bring in my headrest mounted kit, and I completely brain farted and left it at the shop today. But look on our website, the header, HEDR. That's our headrest mounted kit. It's got all this stuff plus a little bit more in there for a good quick access truck mounted kit, headrest mounted kit. So that is a solid one in there. And if you use one of our kits to save somebody's life, what's it called, DA?
The Kit for Life Guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
You damn right. So you buy once, cry once, and if you use it to save somebody's life, you let us know what you used. I'll replace whatever you used free of charge. That is not a big deal. I'm gonna tell you this too: the hemostatic gauze. People talk about tampons. Hey man, tampons may have worked at one point in time. I got a broke watch that's right twice a day. There's better stuff to carry in your med kit than tampons, because tampons don't do anything but soak up blood. It doesn't achieve coagulation. It definitely doesn't achieve compression. So this stuff right here works. It's scientifically proven to do that. And then Bill Sloan had something about ask what kit, the different levels. So if you look at our website, civilian level, it's all based on the type of hemostatic gauze we put in our kits. The civilian level is the white package of this stuff. The military level is the green package of this stuff with a chest decompression needle and a TCCC documentation card. That's per military standards for our military customers. If you don't have it, you don't need it, then don't buy that one. If you don't know how to use a chest decompression needle, or you aren't licensed, not certified, but licensed to use a chest decompression needle, and you use it, you could be, that's 1, assault and battery, 2, assault with a deadly weapon, 3, practicing medicine without a license. So just because you stayed in the Holiday Inn Express last night ain't going to give you a defensible stand in the court of law on that. So just stay away from that stuff. And then the Kaido gauze level kits just have our Kaido gauze. It's a different type of hemostatic, does the same thing as its other stuff does, just in a different manner. So if you want to learn more, go to our website at darkangelmedical.com, check out our free online training, or better yet, come to one of our classes, and you might get to see my smiling face and hang out for a couple of days and drink from a fire hose.
And learn all kinds of interesting sayings.
Exactly.
You'll have a whole book of sayings by the time you're done, I promise. That's all I got. Thank you, DA. I appreciate that, brother.
Hey, anytime, brother. And if you go to darkangelmedical.com and use the discount code Cryptid25, you'll get 25% off your entire order. And if you buy one of the new spear kits and in the comments section mention the Wild Hunt or the Wild Hunt books, you'll get the Team Odin. Let me see. Where's mine? It's right here. you will get this little kit right here where it says Team Odin above the medical rocker.
Heck yeah.
This is the spear
and just
kit.
put that in there, right in the order notes that you want to do Team Odin. So, yeah, y'all, and love to get a class out there in Missouri. I got May's wide open. It's a little too soon for that, but I got plenty of time in July and August. And so we ought to get us a class together out there. So if you got any Missouri folks out there listening, y'all just let us know and we'll come out there your way. Thank you, Lene. I appreciate that on the training videos. So preparedness is key, y'all. The time chooses you, and you're 911. You're it. If you're out in the woods, scurrying around in the dark, and you end up stabbing yourself with something or ripping your arm or leg open, then it's up to you to take care of yourself until you get to more advanced care. So knowledge is definitely empowerment.
That is a fact.
Yeah.
There was another question for you up here, Doc, and I missed it.
Thank you, Coral. I appreciate that.
Derek Buckles said, is this a breakdown of the spear kit?
It's very similar. It's got my top 5 items, plus it's got the Mylar blanket. It's got also an additional 12 feet of standard gauze, non-hemostatic, just to add in as a backfill if you need more. Also, it's good for non-life-threatening injuries, burns, things like that. And also, it's got, what the hell else got? Oh, it's got a nasal airway, and you can get it with a decompression needle. But yeah, that's pretty much the breakdown of the spear kit. If you look on our website, all of our descriptions of the kits are in the product description there. So, heck yeah.
And as Mark Napier so eloquently puts it, the life you save may be your own or somebody you care about.
Very true.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, DA and I have been talking medical stuff for years, ever since I started reading the first Ragnarok book back in 2012, and I hit him up and the bromance ensued. So it's been a labor of love for me doing this, and you know, working with DA and him saying, "Hey, dude, what about this? Is this going to screw them up?" Oh yeah, they're pretty much dead. So it's been a great time for sure.
There's been times when I've sent you a scene and went, "Can they survive this?" And then I get a text message back like, "Nope."
Yes.
Nope, they're pretty screwed. Like, all right, I got to rewrite
chance.
this scene. And then there was a couple of times I've sent, I need to know that this is fatal. And they'll send me back, "Oh, yeah, you pretty much screwed them. They're going to die."
Yeah. They're pretty much done. Thanks, George R.R. Martin of Crypto Horror. I appreciate that.
Well, you know, I want to make sure when they walk away, it's not they're going to get up behind them.
First thing I'd say to DA would be like, "But I like him."
Yeah. Why are you killing them off?
Yeah, he did.
Oh.
That's right.
That's usually my answer. I don't know. Scene called for it. Somebody had to die, and I didn't want to kill this character off. I had plans for them.
Oh, mercy. Mercy,
Well,
mercy.
We're going to roll for the Lost Legion Perdition's Flames audio code. If you've already won that code in the past and you would like another code, just let me know which one, and I'd be happy to send you that one. So we are going to roll that right now. Going to go ahead and jump that. We get drum roll, folks. Here it goes. Deborah Norsworthy has won the code.
Deborah.
Awesome. So Deborah, if you will contact me at daroberts@daroberts.net, I will post that back up here. If you will reach out to me at this email address, and I can post that as well in the chat, and I will email you that code.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I think I'm going to bow out. I'm going to get some sleep.
Thank you for joining me.
No problem.
Right, man.
Doc, take it easy.
You too, brothers. Good seeing you, Anthony.
You too, man.
You take care, dude. Be safe. I'll see you on Saturday.
All right. Cool.
Have a good one. And again, that was Deborah Norsworthy. Deborah Norsworthy, you're the winner of that code. She said, my brother came over a couple of years ago with a snake bite. He didn't get in the door because I was shooting past him saying, let's go. Yeah, I don't play around with snake bites.
No.
Yeah, you got to get somebody to some anti-venom pretty fast.
Yeah.
Depending on the type of the snake, you may not have a lot of time.
That's right. The cure for snake bites is that right foot down on an accelerator as fast as you can go.
Yeah, get there.
Get them to a hospital. Yeah. I had a guy in one of my Texas classes that he had a buddy of his that kept a pet cobra.
Why?
Yeah, it's like ain't like you can put a leash on it and take it out for a freaking walk. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't see why somebody would want to keep a venomous snake.
I mean,
that's just asking to get killed.
It's by a dog, man. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Go rescue a dog from a shelter.
You ever want to find out which loves you more, your wife or your dog? Put them both in the trunk for an hour and see which one's happy to see you.
That's one of my favorite things, man. I love that.
The dog will always be happy to see you.
That's fact. And Mark Napier brings up a good point. He said, yeah, forget venom extraction. All these little suckers and all that kind of crap that they have, the American Medical College of Toxicologists, I mean, these dudes study anything toxic to us. They did a fake snake bite venom and injected into a subject, and they used gallium, the same stuff they put in CT dye to track it through your body to create the imaging. And they used that little suction syringe thing. Guess how much it took out?
Very little.
0.02%.
Yeah, your time is far better spent in accelerating toward the hospital.
Exactly, man. So you gotta. I mean, that's like throwing a fat kid a Pez. You know what I mean? I see that.
Why have a pet cobra? I mean, why get married?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, those things. I can't believe they still sell those things, though. You know,
I can't believe it either. There's no way I would own one.
No.
There was a place just down the road from here in Springfield, and right outside of Springfield in Ozark, Missouri, and they kept poisonous snakes for display. And I went out there once, and it was feeding time, and my big butt almost plowed through the door when the guy that was trying to feed the black mamba almost got bit. And I'm like, I am out of here, because that thing damn near got out of its enclosure.
Nope. I'd be in there like the exorcist. I need a young priest and an old priest. The power of Christ compels you. I'd be getting the hell out of Dodge real quick.
Yeah.
Christian Arredondos. So they don't work? No. You might as well just chunk a fat kid a Pez and see how well that works when he's hungry. Ain't happening. All right. So there's one for your book.
Eat your Tic Tac and shut up.
Yeah, exactly. No, they don't work at all. Yeah. I took care of a herpetologist. He didn't study herpes. He studied snakes up at from CU in Boulder. And he got bit on his hand by a little rattlesnake from the Baja Peninsula, California, about 18 inches long. It's indigenous to the Baja Peninsula. Mm-hmm. He called it a Rosarita rattler or something, but it got one fang under his thumbnail right there. He was unconscious in 90 seconds, dude. And it took 23 vials of antivenom to counteract it. 23 at about $7,000 a vial.
Yeah, and if you keep an exotic,
I took care of him in ICU for a week.
If you keep an exotic like a black mamba or a cobra, they may not have antivenom on hand. I mean, generally most ERs only stock the snakes that are indigenous to the area. Stock antivenom for snakes that they're going to encounter. Because those are expensive doses. I mean, they don't. It's not like you know what? We're here in the heartland of Missouri. Maybe we should keep a whole locker full of cobra venom.
Yeah,
they just don't do it because it's not something you can keep long term. It does expire.
No. Yeah, it's a biological. It has a short shelf life and it's super expensive. And I know a lot of folks who have bought exotics. I've heard these guys. I don't know them because I don't hang around people who hang around with snakes. because they're evil. But they actually buy the anti-venom themselves and stock it in their local ER. So if they are envenomated, they can actually go in and take care of themselves. So, yeah. Mark, did he lose any digits? No, he came damn close, though, brother. They had to do a fasciotomy on his hand for the massive soft tissue swelling, so he wouldn't get a compartment syndrome and lose his digits. But, yeah, he kept his hand. He was extremely, extremely fortunate.
Christian Arredondo says Black Mamba only in South Africa. Yeah, that's where it's indigenous, but this local place that kept exotic snakes had one. Why that? They had cobras too, and
yeah,
I actually got to see the cobras feed. They fed the cobras. They put hamsters. Put a hamster in there with it, and when they dropped the hamster in, it was alive, and the cobra was coiled up in the corner. And that hamster, the hamster had no survival instincts. It was raised in captivity. It dropped in there and looked around, saw the snake, like, oh, what the hell is that? Go trotting over there, and I'm like, oh, yeah, didn't last long.
Good Lord, snakes give me the freaking willies. I'm not scared of a lot of things, but snakes and vomit are like my two.
I'm firmly of the opinion that there's only two kinds of snakes in this world: kind of snake that'll kill you, and the kind of snake that'll make you kill yourself trying to get away from it.
That's a fact. Yeah, Angie loves snakes. She thinks aren't they beautiful? And I'm like, no, they're not. It's nope rope, danger noodle, Satan strings, whatever you want to call them. I don't
danger noodle.
Anything that moves without arms or legs is an aberration of nature. So
I would 100% agree with that.
Except king snakes. King snakes are cool, but just
because they eat rattlesnakes.
Yeah, exactly. But still, keep your distance. I don't like them. But anyway, I get the willies with snakes. I wonder if the Legionnaires saw any snakes. They had adders up in Scotland.
Mm-hmm. I have not received an email yet. Deborah Norseworthy, if you're still listening, you won the audio code. If you'll reach out to me at daroberts@daroberts.net, I will send you that audio code.
And I will have my header kit with me on Saturday night, DA. I'll be in Washington teaching a class, so I'll have that for the show.
Derek Buckle says, DA, will there be a show Saturday, March 12th? That's the weekend I'm supposed to be in LBL. But there's a chance I might not be able to go to that. So watch within the next few days for me to make the announcement on that. But if I end up going to LBL, there won't be a show on the 12th of March. Bill Sloan says there was a bar in town that had an aquarium with rattlesnakes in it. What could go wrong? Drunk college kids and rattlers. Hey, $20 says you won't pet that rattler. Oh, yeah, I'll pet it.
You ain't got a hair on your butt. Yeah. No, man. I ain't messing around with them things.
Yeah, I do not like snakes.
I mean, you're more liable to get killed by lightning than you are a snake, but still, I'd take my chances with lightning.
Derek Buckle says, okay, hope you'll be able to go. It looks like I'm going to be able to, but there's a chance that I might not be able to take the trip. I should know something in the next day or two, and I'll let everybody know. But if I do end up going to that LBL trip, I'll be shooting a lot of video, which will go up on the channel. So I might not get to do the show on the 12th, but I'll have a lot of videos to share.
I'm jealous, man. I'm jealous.
Coral Une says, got to run to mod a chat room. We'll catch a replay in the morning. Thanks. Well, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Hope you have a good night.
Night, Coral.
I will be watching for a email from the winner of the code. I was looking to see if I missed any questions. Sorry.
That's all right, brother.
I hope you guys will join us on Saturday. We are going to have a former Air Force Special Forces veteran from Vietnam, a Vietnam veteran, who's had a couple of personal Bigfoot experiences. He's going to come on the show and tell us about them. Well, that'll be on this coming Saturday. And next Wednesday, a week from tonight, Fred from Alaska will be joining us again to talk about more Bigfoot encounters from not only from the Native Americans in the area, but his own personal stories, as well as talking about his new project called the Hairy Man Project. So the next couple of shows are going to be Bigfoot themed, and I think everybody's going to get a big kick out of those. Derek Buckle says Vietnam Bigfoot. No, the encounters were from here in the States, but he is a Vietnam veteran. I would love to have some rock ape stories. So if anybody's got any stories from Vietnam about the rock apes, I wouldn't mind having them on the show. That'll be the next two shows, and I haven't made an announcement about the one on Saturday the 12th because I'd say odds are good I'm going to be in LBL, but there's a chance I might have to postpone that trip. I've got some other stuff in the fire that I can't really talk about yet, but I got some interesting stuff in the works. And hopefully, knock on wood, tomorrow, if I can get a few things done around the house early enough, I want to go down to an area here in Missouri called Moon Valley and shoot some video there and talk about some of the local legends that have gone on down there.
Bless you.
Sorry about that. At least I got the mute in time. Derek Buckle says, time for a late night McDonald's run. Well, good luck, man. Be safe. Fred in Alaska. Hey, awesome. He says, Fred says, hey, everyone, have a great night. Awesome chat. I'll see you all Saturday. Looking forward to next week, buddy. You and me both, man. Looking forward to having you on the show. Folks, we are over the 2 hour mark, and I'm kind of winding down, and obviously I've drank too much coffee because my back teeth are starting to float. So I've got to make that answer that call. But again, if God dang it, I always forget names. I'm terrible with names. If you, the winner of the drawing tonight, if you'll reach out to me through the email, which is daroberts@daroberts.net. I posted that in the chat. Reach out to me and I'll send that code to you. If she doesn't, we'll just redraw for that code at another time, but hopefully she will. Lene Perkins says, well, the honey jack got rid of the arthritis pain, but now I'm sleepy. Got to go pour me in bed. Good night, all. Really enjoyed the show. Well, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you guys being here.
Not Lene.
But we're kind of at the logical end of things. And if you want to know more about about that missing legion, Legio IX Hispana, there's a wealth of information out there. There's several books on the subject. There are even a few movies on the subject. But for my money, if I had to guess, I think that they were obliterated by the Picts, and that to me, that's just what makes the most sense based on the information. I think they were drawn out into a prolonged fight north of Hadrian's Wall and didn't survive it. That's what makes the most sense as far as I can tell. But again, we don't know. There's no historical record telling us exactly what happened. So your guess is as good as mine. So look forward to hearing what you guys think. If you guys will pop up in the Discord and share your thoughts there, we're happy to talk about it more at length. And Doc, thank you for talking about your about the contents of your kits, and bring in the headrest kit on Saturday. We'll tear that one apart and show it to everybody. And make yourself a note.
I know, man. Now I've got it in my class bag, so I know I'll have one with me.
There you go. And again, thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. Check out that story that Cam Butner on Dixie Cryptid narrated. That was my story, Dog Soldier. That's about Will Gray Eagle. Or you can, if you want the print or Kindle editions of that story, you can find it in the story collection called Codename Wild Hunt, Operation Lily, and Other Stories. It's available now on Amazon and through my website. Hope you guys will check that out. I am currently writing the 5th book of the Apex Predator series called Apex Predator Dark Moon. I'm hoping to have that done in the fairly near future. And I'll release more information about that as it's closer to done. And I appreciate you guys joining us. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Enjoy the conversation. I've said it before. I'll say it many times in the future as well. Writing and stories are journeys that we take together. And I want to thank each and every one of you for taking that journey with us. So make sure you hit like and subscribe, share the video with your friends, hit that little bell icon so you're alerted anytime we go we go live, and share the video with people you think that like this kind of content, because it helps the channel grow, and we certainly appreciate your help in doing that. So I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Again, if you go to darkangelmedical.com and use the discount code cryptid25 at your checkout, you'll get 25% off your entire order. And that's courtesy of Doc, and we very much appreciate that. Hope you guys will go over and check them out as well. So you guys have a wonderful night.
My pleasure.
See you guys on Saturday. Doc, love you, brother. I'll see you on Saturday. And good night, everybody.
Love you too, man.
Thank you for joining us tonight on DAX Machina. If you ever have an encounter of your own that you wish to discuss, contact us at daroberts@daroberts.net. You can remain completely anonymous if you wish. Pull your covers up tight and keep a nightlight burning bright. Oh, and did you forget to lock your doors?